Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipsters Chronicles. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where from the period of time of March 2021 through June 2022, I interviewed 182 founders, executives, entrepreneurs, artists, and authors from over 50 different countries and built a global audience in 165 countries while posting and producing my podcast at the Irish Tech News platform. Since then, I realized there's a lot of incredible content in the interviews that I had, and my interviews with Thought Leadership podcast interviews that had amazing gems from all the guests that I was able to interview. And so I've chosen and decided to create the Crypto Hipsters Chronicles series, which is a series of the gems, the little tiny pieces from each of the interviews that I had in the areas of Bitcoin, Ethereum, metaverses, NFTs, regulatory issues in crypto globally, art, and you name it across the wide spectrum of different verticals in blockchain and crypto industry, and in fintech and mobility and sustainability as well. These are about 15 minutes long, each chronicle, and has three, four, or five different segments from different interviews. So I hope you enjoy them. I hope you have learned a lot. And if you'd like to um, listen to the full podcasts, they are available online at both the Irish Tech News and on Anchor. And in a future date, will be available on the Crypto Hipsters station as well. So please enjoy and talk to you soon. Hello and welcome to Crypto Hipsters Chronicles, episode 32, Building Equitable Futures and Healthy Ecosystems with Crypto Tokens, NFTs, and Metaverses. Today's compilation includes interviews from four guests. First, Sebnem Rosichka, who at the time was token engineer at Boson Protocol. Second, Ken Tholen, who's the founder of Kildare Gallery in Ireland. Third is David Kvitsiani, who is the founder of CNIC. And last but not least, fourth is Jamie Goldblatt, who is the founder of Mind Chill 360. Enjoy. What is your concept of an equitable future, and how, as a global society, can we achieve it?
Exactly. So this is deep, and this is basically also a call to every one of us as citizens of a global society, of participants of a global society, to actually think about what is equity and really go radical deep into the roots of what is equity for you, what is equity for your neighborhood, and then go up into the circle of the global society, and you will realize that it's made full of trade-offs, right? And how do you make those trade-offs? These are things that actually have been left to politicians most of the time. But I don't know if you realized with the corona and all of the political decisions that needed to be made quickly, fast, that how much, and in Germany we still have that problem, how much of those political decisions actually lag, and how much they are based on maybe lobbying info, etc. So, as you say, I think, and I like your question because you start with you know, a politician and their promise in your nation state and go on to global society. And just the fact that, you know, you and I are talking about, and maybe because of a technology that enables global transparency and with tokenism, hopefully also transparent decision making, participatory decision making. How can we ensure equitable future? So, to be honest, for myself, it was this ride through the rabbit holes, as I mentioned, in iterations, and every time I had to ask myself, really? Do I have to ask myself that? Didn't the finance guys figure that out already? Didn't the governance guys and girls figure that already? And no, because we now have this new technology or a technological advance once again, and now is the time really for every one of us because it's enabling participatory or participation. All of us need to ask that question of equity. And I must tell you that I haven't, even for myself, figured that out. It goes back to how can we design systems that have as their output freedom, you know. And equity doesn't mean that everyone is equal. It cannot mean that. And again, like I am on very, very shaky grounds. It goes down to I wished I had all of these 8 disciplines and people from those disciplines, you know, whispering into my ear what to say. But this is what we need to grapple with in the next few years. And I hope, so my goal is really just to make those questions accessible to every participant, that they know they have to ask themselves, and that they also demand information and access to information to be able to ask for themselves.
You also have a bespoke commissioning service, right?
Yes,
what is that
true.
all about? How's that work? I know there's broke, woke, and bespoke. I know what broke is. I think I know what woke is. I don't know what bespoke is. So what is that? What is your service all about?
The bespoke commissions are recently as well. A lot of them, like I was saying, they've been memorials, and even before COVID as well, there's people who've lost loved ones, and it could be a tragic event, and it might be 2 to 3 years later, and that's when they can actually cope with. They want to get a sculpture to sculpture as a memorial for a loved one that they've lost. And we did one recently, and it was a couple, and they lost a young daughter, and stuff like that I take very seriously, because someone comes to you, they're looking for a memorial piece, and you have to come up with an idea or a concept for them, and something that works for them. And you want to treat it with absolute and utter respect. You want to get everything right. You don't want to get it wrong at the end, because you can really upset or hurt someone. So it was a beautiful piece anyways, and what it was it was a hand with a butterfly coming off it, and the hand was to represent the mother's hand, and the butterfly was the young child. But there comes a stage, like we come up with the concept, you hand it over to an artist, and there's those couple of weeks where it's being made, and you're worried yourself that will it be okay, and will everything turn out all right. You have to hand it over to the artist, and I don't think we've got it wrong yet. Like every time we've done it, people are really, really delighted. But it can be a huge part in healing for someone as well, to get a piece like that, I suppose. So that's one part that we've been doing a lot of bespoke commissions. We also work with companies. It can be something to do with, like we did one once again for Intel, and Jonathan Dixon, the artist who we have at the moment at the gallery, he was the one that did it, and it was a portrait of Gordon Moore. And Gordon Moore was one of the founders of Intel. So what Jonathan did was he did a painting, and it's all pixelated, and it's all painted in small blocks. So when you're up close to it, it's hard to tell what it is. And then when you stand back, the picture of Gordon Moore appears. I mean, it's absolutely it's hanging in Intel at the moment, and it's absolutely amazing. And it was all to represent how the same thing can exist in two different states at the same time. So it was pixelated and then realistic when you pull back. So that's the sort of stuff that we do at the gallery. I mean, we'll always try and do our absolute best to get the best outcome for our client.
You mentioned air pollution, right? And you're using rings in your art project to reduce air pollution. So I want to find out how you're doing that, and practically, speaking, how do we get there so we have a much cleaner global environment?
Sure. It's very complex and requires many efforts from many different industries, and very very important part is developing electric vehicles because they reduce air pollution and carbon dioxide emission is reduced once electric vehicles are developed and becoming mainstream. And we believe by supporting this direction, this mission, we move forward this direction. We help with art, with culture. We support this direction. And also, it's pretty much our company's culture to be eco-friendly. The product we are developing and the rings we are producing is eco-friendly. We are the first manufacturer of smart rings that are made of eco-friendly wood materials, and these are biodegradable materials because the material is natural wood, and that's also very unique. And these products are handmade. So it's always part of our culture. Everything we do to be good for environment and to reduce damaging effects on the environment.
Basically, you're using the art from the environment, the natural resources, and then building that out into using technology to restore the state of natural resources. Do I have that right?
Yeah, actually, our effect on this problem is we are supporting it with art, with our community, and the fact itself, like the first eco art is on NFT is dedicated to the electric vehicles, also talks about how important we think it is to develop electric vehicles and reduce carbon dioxide in the environment.
Where's the humanity, right? And you mentioned grief. You mentioned grief, right? So,
yeah,
I've learned over the years how to take the arrows out. A lot of people haven't. How can we deal effectively with grief and this new world of what you're creating? What are some of the tools to do that?
Yes, grief is such a horrific problem, especially with the pandemic and everything that's happened. And to give you an example, the reason why I'm creating the Memorial Islands is because my grandma died during the pandemic, and my sister's in Australia, and obviously because of COVID she couldn't come over. And when someone, and I realized, families were spread out now, and when she died, it was very difficult for us to connect and feel feel connected. And so I thought, if we could create a place that you can customize with memorial art that people can create and you can buy and you can put in there, activities and different things, and 50% of the money of the sale of each memorial island and the NFTs goes to support free grief counseling from within there. And there's also an enterprise version of it, because businesses are losing, I think it's 75 billion or something, million or whatever it is, a year from grief. And so there'll be an enterprise version as well. So the percentage of that money can also go to support ideas to help with grief, so people feel supported and have a place to go. And because I think grief is so, sometimes you want to be on your own as well, and sometimes through creativity. I know I work things out through creativity, and a lot of other people do as well. And to give people, frameworks for that within the virtual and digital world, I think could be really interesting. And there's just so many different activities that we can do, and researchers and partners that we can partner with, Ancestry, people like that. There's so much that it's about turning grief into inspiration. And if you can, in different cultures, like the dead was on at the moment, they're celebrating it. It's how you look at things in life as well, I think. I'm not, I haven't done a philosophy degree, but I've had great success and horrific failures. And grief is not only just people dying, it's, it's a business. That there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there who really go for it, and it doesn't work. And that can be, have a really difficult, impact on your life, on your family's life. We all try and do stuff to help our families and provide, and our families support us. Entrepreneurs' wives, they are, and husbands as well, are amazing. And it's about a group of supportive network and being creative with ideas, whether it's chilling your mind through activities, through art. I'm just such a firm believer of creativity.
Yeah, so I want to follow up on that, because I see a comparison. Usually when people are stuck in grief, they are stuck on the left side of their brain, on the analytical side, and that side of the brain keeps knocking us down to be stuck. The right side of the brain is the creative side. That's the one that gets us into the creativity. It's the one that gets us out of grief. It's the one that builds and creates. How does one go from an analytical mindset to a creative mindset? And how could that movement from the left side of the brain to the right side of the brain help build this NFT and the mind show space?
Definitely. So in the memorial island, for example, there is, each one comes with a tree of life, and you tender to that tree, and you can develop your garden and develop your memorial island along with different music and along with different experiences. So colouring in, so 3D jigsaws, all these creative ideas that stop your mind from thinking. And the other thing that I would say is each property in the metaverse of Chill has the ability to transport through artscapes and chillscapes, and these chillscapes are 360 sound looping pieces of art with music as well. And you'll find that if something grabs your attention, kind of like that's really creative in music, you kind of, it kind of shocks you. And so if you look at all my Mind Chill videos, the reason they get shared is because there's kind of a shock at the beginning, and then it draws them in. And so, because it's not always how do I say this, it's not always light, it's quite dark sometimes. And so there's a bit of darkness in Mind Chill as well. And sometimes when you put darkness and then you show the light straight after the darkness, people go into it. And I've had so many messages from people saying that that they've gone into the soundscape that I've created, and it's just chilled their mind. And so I think activity-based things, also money is a big problem as well with grief. And Mind Chill coin, there's free Mind Chill coin yields on the Genesis Memorial Islands as well. And so with all the creativity that you do, you earn Mind Chill coin as well, and you can buy things and do things like go on trips and stuff like that. So it's all about doing things with grief, and helping a family when when someone's lost or they've lost something, and giving them a place that's online that's theirs. But that's just one idea in the metaverse of chill. We've got a project with the Dogs Trust. One of the other things is looking at pictures of dogs makes people happy, and dogs make people happy as well. And so I'm working with the Dogs Trust, and we're creating the Canine Islands, and it's the world's biggest dog art exhibition, where you can submit your dog, and artists will do this competition, and you also get a land. And so we're going to build a virtual world for dog lovers as well in the metaverse of chill. So and what you said was really interesting about left hand side brain and right hand side brain, because the map of the metaverse of chill is exactly that. And so you can't mix business with pleasure, because I think one of the problems here with social media and everything is when you become the commodity and the business is put into your personal thing, it becomes it muddies the waters, and it doesn't become real, and it becomes something else. And that's again money again as well. So we've got some really creative ideas to really disrupt money, because I think that's the last thing that's been disrupted, and it needs to be.